Yeah, man. Okay. All right, so I got my other device pulled up, so I should be able to see your comments if you got some comments. So I just want to talk about the whole thing with the system, how it's messed up, and let me turn this down. There's a little delay on that. It'll be messing me up. You know when you get the delay in your earphones, like when you're on the phone and you can hear yourself, and then it starts making you fumble over your own words. Yeah, I don't like that. So anyway, slavery. So I want to talk about that in general, not just this neural monitoring thing, because that is definitely slavery. And anybody that does not have access to neural monitoring at this point, that's what it is. You're captive, and you got somebody else accessing your neural monitoring, and it is a form of slavery. And they use it for a lot of different things to benefit from you, from your intellectual content, from your just stealing from you in general, and using your life as a form of entertainment and a form of revenue. It's just something that they're doing. Uh, Gang stalkers with neural monitoring, they're doing that. They are doing that. And if you don't have if you don't have access to neural monitoring, then that's what's happening. You need to think about the goal is to get your neural monitoring. The goal is not to figure out some way to block neural monitoring, and then you get to hide inside of this Faraday cage igloo that you built, and you can stay there for the rest of your life. Like, we all got things to do. The goal is not to block neural monitoring, okay? And every person is on neural monitoring, and it's really a matter of possession or slavery. It's one or the other. You either have possession of it or you are a slave. So in America, the system's broken. Obviously, the system's broken. And I'm not like a fan of communism, um, because there's other ways to go about achieving successful results um, with a rewarding system where you try to succeed and then you are rewarded for doing so. And when you're not trying to succeed, then you're not rewarded for doing that. So what we have here in the United States is this thing where um, dependency is promoted. So a lot of people depend on the government for things, and it creates the whole thing, where um, entitlements, and it's a mindset. It's a mindset, and if you dig into that mindset, the bottom line of it all is slavery. And so, there's people that um, I've worked with people, and they'll work for 4 hours a day, and then they're like, "No, I gotta go. Like this, I can't make more than this amount, or that's gonna mess up my check," you know. And and then there's people that are like, "Well, I don't want to do all of this because then they got these taxes or whatever." And it's a system that's it appears to be rewarding um, a behavior of a less productive nature, less success. And the more success you have, the more you might be punished. But overall, it starts off as a young child, and you go to school and they teach you a bunch of stuff that is irrelevant or causes you to have some form of dependency on the system and the government. And it's a form of slavery. And so you were taught to go out and get a car payment, you know? And, in the old days, you didn't buy a house if you didn't have 20% of the money already. and then you got a mortgage for the rest of it, or no money down. You know, you will prove you for anything, right? And then you are a slave to the system. And then okay, when I was younger, I bought a car. It was the only time I ever had a car payment. Since then, I pay cash for my cars. When I was younger, I went and paid no money. I might have thrown a little money at it, and I got a car payment. And I remember that the car was $13,000. Okay, and when I added up the payments over the term of the loan, it was over $20,000. And so I was nearly paying double for the car because I got a finance for the car. You know, one time I went to buy a truck, and they wanted, it was a used truck, they wanted $12,000. $12,000. And I was like, I got $8,000. You know, you want it, or do I need to go, right? And they don't like it. They didn't like it that much, but they took the money, and I bought the truck for $8,000. But I would have paid 12, and then it would have been financed, and then I would end up paying 20, but instead I paid half or less because I saved up the cash to do that. You know, it's not that difficult. I mean, you have to adjust your life and measure, do you want to have success? So do you want to do things to improve your life? And sometimes you hit a rut, you know, and you might stay in the same place and you keep grinding and grinding, but you'll get past that and then you'll move up to another level. And so that's what you want to be doing. You want to be moving up to these different levels. So in school, they teach you a lot of stuff. Like, you really should send your kids to private school. The whole system is an indoctrination based on dependent and reliant on the government. That gives them power. And so what you're dealing with is a thing with slavery. It's slavery in a sneaky little form. It's still slavery. So they can hold you down to a certain level, and it makes you controllable. So I was reading an article yesterday about Chilean, I forget the guy's name exactly, it doesn't even matter. He was our Air Force software chief, and he resigned. And his reasoning for resigning was, he says, this is silly. It's making me look stupid, and China has already won the technology race, and within a few years, they will dominate the world, and our defense system is like kindergarten stuff compared to theirs, and you know, and we're still worried about all the wrong things. I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it at all. I know that we have so many trillions of dollars in debt. And that's the national deficit. And the way that works is they create a treasury bond and sell it. And it's usually been China that's been buying those. And then once they sell that, then they're able to print the money. See, because they can't just, who knows, they might, but they can't just print money without making some sort of deal to bring it into existence. Okay, because it's like this, right? If you got some amount of value, right? So here's the value, right? And then you got $5 to represent that value. Okay, so if you go and print $5 more, now you $10, but you can't print some value. You can't print the actual value, right? So now those $10 are representing that same amount of value. So it basically makes the money worth half of what it used to be worth, right? So if you print money without some basis, and they probably do. You know, I haven't followed politics that much, and I'm starting to try to follow things more because I want to bring attention to everything that's going on in the world to my channel and my channels and different things that I want to talk about a lot of things, you know, and I got some collaborations in the works. Um, I got some really good people, man, that that are like my close people, and so I think that things could go a long way when I start talking with these people about these things. So let me check to see if I can see. I can't see. Where's these questions at? Or these comments? I'm trying to see the comments and it's not showing them to me. Um. Anyway, the whole thing is really, it comes down to a form of slavery, and if you want freedom, then economic freedom is part of that. Financial freedom is part of that. And in order to achieve those things, you have to work hard, but you also have to make smart decisions and become educated about many different things. So you got your freedom. Does that mean what? You got your neural monitoring, or you got a degree in something? They left you alone. That don't mean nothing. They start back tomorrow. If you didn't get your neural monitoring, because that's the only thing that can truly stop them. And you was gonna die. I don't understand really what you're saying, but I mean, neural monitoring is what I usually talk about on this channel, and neural monitoring is a huge thing with gang stalkers that have control over somebody else's neural monitoring. That's your neurological control panel. You know, if you could be trying to go to sleep at night and get you some rest, and they can turn on like a high pitched frequency and then start shocking your butthole with EMF broadcast, that's not freedom. That is not freedom. Thank you. I appreciate that, and yeah, I'm trying to be very persistent, and you know, there's somebody that was close to me. I appreciate that comment. There's somebody that's close to me that that doesn't really know about neural monitoring. They don't really believe in it. I know that they're on remote like the rest of us. Everybody's on neural monitoring, but um, you know, they approached me about wanting to do some things. And so I agree. Like, I think we should do some things because he's a smart dude. And I think that we could make I think we can make some waves, you know, talking about different things. Um, because me and this guy, we used to both kind of study a lot of different things, like as far as like financial things, economic stuff, political stuff, like worldly events and different things. And so um, and when I was talking to him, he really was hitting on some psychological, like psychology type of things. And so I think that we're gonna probably start a podcast or something. And you know, it's not like it's my evil scheme, but I already know what's gonna happen. Is it's gonna lead into this whole thing where he's gonna have to start to face the possibilities of this neural monitoring thing, and then that's going to give me another ally in this whole situation. But but that's not really the plan. I just know that's going to be the result of things. So um, I think it's going to be a really big deal as more people start to gain awareness about neural monitoring and start to find out that um, the ways that it's being used, and it is slavery and terrorism. And so gaining access to your neural monitoring without somebody giving it to you, which especially if you've been targeted, nobody's going to want to give it to you because you're a threat to their way of life and the things that they're doing. And a lot of them have made this their career, and it becomes a thing where it's a financial thing and it's a fear of consequence thing. You know, if somebody's been putting out live streams about your life, like the Truman Show, for 10 years, and they've been attacking you and all this stuff, where they're on the hook for a lot, and they're going to do a lot to protect that position. So they're going to try to make sure that you don't get neural monitoring. Um, but you don't have to sit there and do nothing. Um, I know that they're accessing all this stuff online. I know that a lot of them are hackers. They're into all of my devices. They're into a lot of things like that. And so if I can learn how to do the things that they're doing, then it's going to make it very difficult for them to continue to do it. And I've found a lot of things, and I've learned a lot of things, and that's just the avenue that I'm trying to take. Is I want to learn a lot more about a lot of other stuff, and become knowledge is power. So I want to become so knowledgeable about some things that it's just impossible for them to continue to hold me hostage in this form of slavery. And I'm also not going to let any other um, government systems or financial situations or anything else have me held hostage as a slave, because there's too much going on. There's too many legitimate ways to make money, because too many people out there don't care that much, and they're perfectly fine with just either collecting a social security check or something like that, or just going to do their regular 9 to 5. And I hope I get a 50 cent raise next year or something like that. I, I don't care about all that. I'm trying to make moves for real. So that's, you got to do more. You got to do more, and you got to find yourself being exceptional rather than just some uh, normal person that's accepting the way things are. And I know it can be difficult, and they've been teaching us since the day we were born to lean on the government and rely on it. Well, I lost faith in them anyway, and plus I already know that the whole system is corrupt and scheming, and there's too much corruption going on. There's too many things behind the scenes, and you can't rely on them, not even to protect you from a satellite terrorism. So what are we waiting on? So I think it's a good idea to start learning about a lot of things. And if you can go back to school, or if you could just start studying things on YouTube, or like try to create your own business, or learn definitely about computer coding and programming and things like that. And it's the way of the future. Everything is coded and programmed, even us. So if not, then what is an mRNA? Okay, it's not a vaccine. It's something that rewrites your DNA. And if you can rewrite the coding of DNA, then that means that it's a coded thing to begin with. And so, God's been on this whole thing for a long time, and we got to understand these things. And it's a way of life now. And your digital self and your digital fingerprint, or your digital existence, your neurological frequency, your broadcast, all of these things are existing, and it all goes hand in hand with the World Wide Web and coding. Okay, so they bought out MySpace back in the day, and then came Facebook, and you can't even get a customer service rep on Facebook, and everything is just button press settings, and it's very limited unless you start to look into the developer side of things and get on the API and the SDKs and start using a script editor and Postman and different things to do your own thing, to create your experience the way that you want it to be, and customize your stuff and learn how that stuff works. And otherwise, you're just at the mercy of whomever is behind the scenes creating this interface that leaves you with a lot less control over your own stuff. And you're going to see a lot of lawsuits against Facebook in the future. It's definitely going to happen about privacy, about neural monitoring and EMF broadcast, and the way that information is handled, and the way that consent is not had about the information. And it's your emails. I didn't see but anything except for the emails the same. You can email me, email kevinchristian@gmail.com, and include the email part, email kevinchristian@gmail.com, and you can email me right there, and I'll get back to you. So yeah, those things are all very important, and if you want to be able to control your life, then you have to have some understanding of those things. And I think maybe that's why MySpace got bought out back in the day, because everybody was doing the like pimp my page MySpace thing, and it was teaching people how to do like HTML and how to get into it was the gateway into computer programming, and it was teaching people too much, trying to do that kind of thing, and so they got rid of that, and then comes this new version of social media, and the only people that are, if you're not on the developer side of that thing, then you need to be. And you need to be learning about all of those things, because gang stalkers are running a lot of stuff in the background, and they're creating apps using these SDKs on Facebook and the developer side, and they're creating apps, and they can have your accounts linked to all kind of stuff that doesn't show up. It's not showing up on your settings and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't. I saw something a little while ago about how some more people are talking about testifying against something about Facebook and some information. I try to click on the story, but my device is not working right, and because I don't have control of it, because I'm not that great at hacking yet, but I'm trying to learn more all the time. These gang stalkers have complete control over my stuff, and so I can turn my phone off and turn it back on. It could be different because they can. I told somebody else earlier, like, all right, if you have a company and you give 20 or 30 employees an iPhone, okay, then you can use some sort of configuration application on on your network admin and your desktop laptops, like your servers or whatever. You can use some programs on there to administrate all of your mobile devices for your employees, and so schools do this, like when they pass out iPads to all the students, and then the applications and things that are existing on that iPad, it's all administrated by one central person, one central authority that is the admin over those things. And so you could turn it off, and then like maybe you turn it back on another time and it's different. It's because they changed it. And my stuff's the same way. And it's because these gang stalkers are having control over my stuff. And they make it difficult to learn about things, but you just take it step by step and start from the beginning. You have to start learning about computer stuff. Your phone is not sufficient. You'll never learn enough. You'll never learn enough about stuff playing with your phone. You have to get on desktop. You have to get on a laptop or desktop, and it's not that expensive. And from there, you can use things like Xcode devices. And then we have to learn how to find out who's running these applications that they're creating with the different SDKs from social medias and things, where they're running EMF broadcast live streams of our life, They would call it PHP Facebook or something like that. And if you don't have PHP enabled and everything's set up where you're on localhost and all, like, there's a lot of things you have to configure to be able to have the full access to social media and everything else on the internet. For example, once upon a time, they had my couple of my devices linked into their local network, and it was to control things. But if I would go on to a browser, like I go into Google or Safari and type in something, I could get all kinds of results that I normally wouldn't get. And it was because it's not that I had PHP enabled and all of these things, but they had me connected into their local host system. And so I was getting all these different edu sites and stuff in results. And I remember I could go into them, and there was different ways to go about it. On touch screen devices, you could do like certain slide maneuvers and different things to, like, pull the whole top of the screen down into like a secret area, and that's where they would have like a video box, and it would be like the live stream, the EMF broadcast live stream stuff. And so we would have like a certain way that you would have to get into it. And so a rectangle has 8 points if you count the corners and the middles, all right? And then you would start at like the upper left, and then you would skip 2 points, and then you would skip 2 and skip 2 and skip 2 and skip 2, and then you would end up making that whole thing. And then because I found some stuff that they were doing. And one time I found a whole tutorial on how to get into those type of videos. It was just like a little snowman character. And they crashed my device, my Mac Mini, on that, like back in 2016 when I found that, but not before I figured out how to use it. And so I figured out how to get into those videos. But when you find those secret videos and you do that, skip to, and you make it all the way around, it would collapse in, and then it would have the real video, and they'd rush and remove it right out of the source code, so I couldn't access it anyway. And I was just fighting against them, and they had real time defenses against everything I would find. But they thought it was real funny, that I was right there finding the stuff that they're doing, and I still couldn't see it or do anything about it. And they had me linked into their local host network, and I was able to access all of the sites written in PHP and things like that. And I learned a lot back then on how all of this stuff works. I should really be doing more, and that's my fault. But I'm doing a lot in life. I stay very busy in life with jobs and trying to make improvements on myself. And that's what you should all be doing too, is trying to make money and trying to gain knowledge and trying to seek out ways to combat the things that they're doing against us, because we're all held captive in this form of slavery. And that's just one of the ways, like I've been talking about in this video. So cryptocurrency, I don't know that much about it. I've made some money on it and I've lost some money on it. And I definitely believe that these gang stalkers deal with some cryptocurrency because it's something that's not so traceable, but I don't know enough about it. I've read about it. I understand how the blockchain works and how they build systems to process transactions, but what kind of transactions? What are these transactions that are being processed that enable them to get paid from the blockchain transactions and get paid cryptocurrency that brings it into existence? And then I know that they put a cap on most, not Doji, but most of the other cryptocurrencies. They put a cap on how much can be created, and then every 4 years or so it like halves, and then you have but you got situations where it's like, okay, so when they've ran out of the halvings, and then this is over with, but then they just create part two. You'll see Bitcoin 2 and Ethereum 2, so they're still going to continue to create more, and what that has the effect that has on the value of them, who knows? Because that's the whole thing. Why you can't create more, like they print more money, and it causes the value of the money to be less because you can't print the value that the money represents. So if you print more, then that's inflation. All right. So if you make Ethereum 2 and Bitcoin 2, that kind of defeats the purpose of having a limit on how many you're supposed to be able to have to prevent inflation. It's supposed to be a hedge against inflation, inflation proof or whatever. So is it really? I don't know. We'll see. But there's so many people in the world. I guess you could raise the amount in existence at the same rate as the population of Earth raised, and then you wouldn't have an inflationary effect. But otherwise, you probably will have that. So I don't know really. I know a little bit about cryptocurrency, but not that much. So yeah. Hold on, let me see. What did that say again? Man, I don't know. I think these gang stalkers are messing with my stuff because I'm not seeing the comments, I got my video pulled up. The comments ain't showing up on here. That's why I came out here with 2 devices so I could try to see the live chat and interact with you guys. But yeah, they do manipulate everything. So if you got $10 million and you kind of built into the system, but who knows, man, if the money's going to be worth anything or if China is communist, all right, but China is very strict on their population, on becoming educated, and communists are like that, and they tell you this is what you got to do, and you don't really have a choice. But like I said, there's better ways to achieve the things that they're trying to achieve, I think. Um, to be like the whole thing. Like if you want to train a dog, there's the reward system, or you want to discipline a child. There's a reward system and like a punishment system, and so in our society, they teach you to be dependent, and then Um, I've done nothing with the CIA but try to contact them about neural monitoring, like I did every other agency a couple years ago. Um, I don't know what that means, but um, I think you can achieve discipline and success with people by rewarding. In our country, we have a system where they create dependency, and then those who break out of that mindset and become successful, the business owners and the people that are the employers and all of that kind of thing, um, it's a it's kind of one of those things where you can see it differently. Okay, you're punished for being successful because it's a progressive tax rate, and they start to take more from you the more that you make, and it can turn into where you're paying half of the money you make is going to taxes, and then you're double taxed because they tax you when you get paid, and then when you spend it you get taxed again, and so it's a double taxation. So you're really paying more taxes than you even realize that you're paying, and people that don't make that much money, and then they give them some money, like the earned income credit and all of that, and then but people want that, and it appears people that base how much money they want to make on making sure that they're able to get the handouts too. So it's like promoting um, it's it's promoting a thing where you don't want to make too much money, and it's punishing a thing where you don't want to make a lot of money because they're going to punish you. So it's the system is built wrong, but I see the other side. I do understand the other side of it. If you got $10 million and you make you could just make a safe investment and make 10 or 20% on that, like a mutual fund, and then you're already making $1 million off of just having the $10 million, and so you get so much money, you start to be built into the system where you just no way you can spend enough money to start to go down, and so but you had to work to get there. So um, should they tax you more, or should you be um, rewarded for your hard work and your discipline to get to that level? Or should they, since you're so able to make the money easily, should they tax you more? Or I don't know. I know the whole thing with uh, the the international or the national. There was the national sales tax that they were trying to get. Maybe 10 or 15 years ago, they were trying to push for that national sales tax where you pay like 15% on sales tax, and other than that, you didn't pay anything. You didn't have to get taxed when you get your check from your job and all that type of stuff. So, whatever it needs to be, I don't know. The system's broken, and it is true that we're falling behind some of these other countries that are more disciplined and making smarter decisions. But they're not promoting dependency. They're not promoting uh, for their citizens to rely on the government. They're promoting their citizens to be they're they're pushing their citizens to be productive and to make progress. And they're teaching them a lot of things. And we don't get taught things. Our system is designed to not teach us everything, to keep us on a certain level so that those who do know can have a power over the rest of us. So you want to learn. Knowledge is power. You want to learn as much as you can. And you don't want to find yourself in a situation where you're a slave. Is just something that's not said. It's not presented that way. Where you're going to have to live this way, and here's your circumstances, and you're just kind of stuck with that, and you don't want to be stuck in that. So you want to definitely try to do the things that you're doing to progress your life and to make your life better. So um, anyway, that's pretty much what I wanted to say, what I want to talk about, and try to give you guys some inspiration to make some progress. Computer coding is important, even if you didn't get your neural monitoring from it immediately or something like that. It's a huge industry, and you can make money doing so many things. So looking into like web development and online advertising and things like that, it's a big deal, and it's something that's really taken off. And it's not we're at the ground floor of it, but this thing is still kind of new. But neural monitoring is something that these people are doing a lot of stuff online. So the more you know about all of the coding and the online stuff, the more likely you're going to be to not be targeted and to find yourself in a position to get your neural monitoring. So just to wrap it up, I want to tell you that I know personally, I probably know 20 people personally that have neural monitoring that are gang stalkers, and I've encountered probably 50 more that have neural monitoring that are part of these gang stalkers little groups. All right, and then I've heard so many of you talk about your gang stalkers wherever you are, and so there's a lot of people that have this. I also know people that have neural monitoring that are not gang stalkers. So it just depends on where you fall and what I guess what your morals are, as far as like what people do with the technology. But it's not common, but it's a very possible thing for you to gain access to neural monitoring, and many people have neural monitoring. So it's not something that you can't get. These people that are saying, "Oh, it's a CIA technology," nobody you know has it full of it. They're probably gang stalkers. I promise you, and I wouldn't lie to you. I wouldn't just tell you that. I know for absolute certain. I've found a lot of things. You don't come out with 7,000 videos and try to fumble over your own lies. That's not how it works. I would be debunked, as they say, a long time ago. So I'm gonna just keep coming out with what I know to be the facts, and as I can back up those with proof and evidence and help everybody else out, that's what I'm gonna do. Um, Bruh, it's like this. The person that has possession of my neural monitoring, they have some connections, and they also had some drug problems. And what they ended up doing was giving neural monitoring to some crooked police and all the drug dealers around town. And so they had this little network, where the police are tipping off the drug dealers, so they're not getting arrested or raided or whatever, or if they're going to, then they already knew that the police were coming, plus they can use broadcast. And so it just kind of goes around. And people that are into horrible things, I guess, that want to use it in malicious ways for terrorism or whatever, and then they give it to their people, and it just spreads around, and people, like I don't know you, but people like us, I would say in general, because I feel like they try to make sure that we don't get it because we're a threat to their way of life, because they use it for power and enslavement and to make money off of us and off of our lives and presenting our lives and hurting us and making fun of us and suppressing us and our intellectual content, and they steal from us. So we're a threat to them and their way of life and the things that they do with it. So they take extra steps to make sure that we don't get it, and that they can connect to your mind and they know what you're thinking. So I'm sure before they give it to somebody, they make sure that it's not going to be to their own demise to say, hey, I got this technology I want you to have. So they make sure that it's people that's on the same page as them, and that they can all use it in horrible ways together, I guess. So I don't know. But Satan doesn't scare me. Somebody said yesterday on my comments, like, you're crazy to think you can defeat Satan and all his patrons or whatever. And I was like, girl, I'll walk through them like a bowling ball. It ain't no thing. So they don't scare me. And I'll stand against them any day, right in their face, by myself, with God alone, or with all of you guys, and it doesn't matter. So anyway, that's what's up. I think it's the 12th, 11th or the 12th of October. October moons and rusty skies. So I like this season. It's my season. That's my favorite season. Everything's cooling off, and this is that good weather. So I hope you guys have a good day, and do something. Do something to help yourself. Do something to progress your life, and that's gonna make things better. It's gonna make you feel better, and it's work off of your own momentum. All right, we're going places, and they can't stop us. I promise. So, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys on the next one.